Good day, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Data Spring Podcast, where we talk about market research and trends in Asia. I'm Lei, and currently recording here in Manila along with Joey. How are you, Joey?
Still doing great, Lay. Hello, everyone. Today is December 3rd, the time of the recording of our first episode. Like the previous pilot episode in our succeeding episodes, we share some of the latest news and trends in the region. This episode is brought to you by Data Spring Survey On, and let's proceed with our Asian news feature. In our current news segment, we'll talk about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic to the economies of Southeast Asian countries. We all know how the pandemic has taken its toll on human lives, but we also need to know its long-term effects even after it is long gone. The title of our article is Southeast Asian Economies Will Recover Much Slower Due to COVID. That's coming from Asian Development Bank. Southeast Asian economies will recover at a much slower pace than previously thought due to recurring waves of COVID-19, said the Asian Development Bank. The bank lowered its growth forecast for the region to 3.1% for 2021 from its previous forecast of 4.4%. ADB downgraded economic growth projections for all Southeast Asian economies except Singapore and the Philippines. Major Southeast Asian economies, including Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam, reported a sharp rise in daily COVID infections and deaths in recent months. The spike in cases and deaths was attributed to the highly infectious Delta variant. Lockdowns and social distancing measures in the region have prolonged a global shortage of semiconductors and constrained the supplies of goods such as coffee and clothing. If you look at developing Asia as a whole, about 35% of the population has been fully vaccinated. That's well below what you see in the US and Europe, Abdul Abiyad, director of macroeconomic research at ADB, told CNBC's Street Signs Asia on Wednesday. It's not surprising that the current pandemic has negatively affected the economy of Southeast Asian countries.
I think the primary reason why this happened is because Southeast Asia became an epicenter of the pandemic for a few months. Remember when Indonesia reached critical levels just last summer? There were dozens of thousands of daily reported cases, and the government had to restrict transportation in several industries, most especially the manufacturing industry.
Malaysia, Vietnam, and the Philippines also had difficulties in controlling the outbreak too. Here in Manila, a rapid succession of quarantine measures from the so-called modified enhanced community quarantine, general enhanced community quarantine, and granular lockdowns forced employees to work at home and even shut down different businesses. In fact, we are still not able to go back to our Manila office for a year and a half already out of health safety concerns. Our teams had to adapt to a satellite work from home setup, which is quite challenging, especially in our industry. What do you think Southeast Asians do to address this?
In my opinion, the best answer is to vaccinate enough people in the region to instill herd immunity from COVID 19. Other countries have reached their targets, and due to this, they have eased restrictions, allowing industries to get back on their feet. The sooner Southeast Asian governments vaccinate the people, the lesser the infection rate will be, and the more confident the people will be to go out to work, play, and spend. Only then will the economy bounce back faster.
Our episode is brought to you by Data Spring Survey On. Since 2014, Survey On served as the recruitment platform for the Asia Pacific region, covering Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Philippines. With an attractive incentive system for respondents and frequent updates and checks, researchers are assured of quality responses from panelists across the region. Visit surveyon.com for more details.
We have a portion on the survey and website called Quick Poll, where we post different questions targeted to thousands of respondents across Asia. We'll be highlighting some of these questions in each episode, and let's start off with these questions directed to the Filipino respondents.
We asked 2,061 Filipinos about the number of new skills they have developed over the past 2 years, including the pandemic period, and here are the results. 671 respondents, or 32% of the total number of respondents, voted that they learned 2 new skills over the pandemic period. 507 respondents, or 24% of the total respondents, said that they developed one new skill, and 385, or 18% of the total respondents, claimed that they learned no new skills over the pandemic period. However, 252, or 12% of the respondents, said that they learned three new skills over this period of time.
So most Filipinos have learned at least two new skills during the pandemic. How about you, Joey? What are the skills you've learned lately?
Most of the new skills I learned today are related to raising a kid, like how to change a diaper, how to read a child's emotions, and how to help him walk and run. It's been fun, and raising a kid in the middle of a pandemic makes the day so much better.
Filipinos have a lot of time in their hands right now, especially because of the quarantine and lockdowns placed by the government. I bet many of them learned how to use TikTok and joined viral dance videos or even spent time learning how to cook. I hope everyone here spent their time wisely and learned something new while on lockdown.
This is just one of the many surveys posted on QuickPoll in surveyon.com. You can follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter to catch our weekly QuickPoll survey highlights coming in from our survey platforms across the Asia Pacific region: Surveyon in Southeast Asia, Panel Now in Korea, and Zanli in China. If you'd like to create or try out a QuickPoll survey, feel free to visit our websites, surveyon.com, panelnow.co.kr, and zanli.com. If you'd like to set up a more comprehensive survey, then you can contact us through our website, d8aspring.com.
On our website, we receive a lot of questions about what we do in the MR industry, and we'd like to answer some of the questions here in our podcast. We hope we can answer all of the questions, but we'll take them a handful at a time per episode.
Yes, let's check some of the questions. First of all, we have a question coming in from Carl. Where can I get Data Springs Asian panel details?
You can download Dataspring's panel book on our website, dataspring.com. That's DAAspring.com to know more about our panel resources.
And we have another question coming in from Dan. Where can I learn more about Data Springs panel quality and reliability?
You can also try checking our answers to SMR 28 questions on market research, which you can also download in our website. Those are our two questions for our Q&A segment. If you have any questions for Dataspring, just feel free to send them to contact@dataspring.com. Again, that's contact@d8aspring.com, and we'll gladly answer them.
In every episode, we'll be sharing some tips and tricks on how to conduct great and effective market research studies, especially when working in the Asian region. These tips and tricks can hopefully help you yield more insights at a shorter time and less cost.
What we'll discuss this time are Asian market research mistakes and what you can do to avoid them. Mistake number one: failing to localize your questionnaire. Localizing the questionnaire is essential for study success. Everything from translation to question and answer choices should be reviewed by local researchers. Do not assume one questionnaire will work across Asia. This assumption can lead to numerous issues, including collecting bad data, offending local respondents, and even running afoul of local governments.
Mistake number two, committing to one data collection method. It is critical to be open to using data collection methods that fit the country and methodology. Dictating a methodology, especially online, may lead to collecting data that is not worth analyzing. So consider local conditions and, if necessary, be prepared for offline data collection.
Mistake number three: assuming all locals are local. Many Asian countries have multiple ethnic groups in significant numbers. In these areas, Indonesia and Vietnam, for example, terms like Genpop are not as relevant. It is critical to work with a quality sample firm that understands the local population.
So those are some of the blunders you should avoid on your next project in Asia. If you'd like to add more suggestions, feel free to send them to us. We'll provide our contact details at the end of this episode.
We're now at the end of our podcast episode, and we'd like to leave you with a quote. This one comes from Malcolm Stevenson Forbes, an American entrepreneur most prominently known as the publisher of Forbes magazine. Quote, the best vision is insight, unquote. That's all we have for our pilot episode. We hope you like what we talked about.
Yes, and we're planning to release more episodes soon. If you have some questions or proposed market research projects, you can email them to us at contact@dataspring, that's D, the number 8, ASPRING.com, or you could visit our website, dataspring.com. Our sales teams are available 24/7 to answer all of your questions.
We look forward to setting up more episodes for you. Bye for now.